I, like a lot of people, can be a sucker for nostalgia, especially when it comes to video games, particularly the Game Boy Color, which in fact was the first console I've ever owned. And with that came hours of unbridled, euphoric joy that I would vainly continue to chase until this day. Of course, replaying all the titles I enjoyed back in the day between all of my available options is a trivial matter. But there's something special about playing on original hardware. So when I unearthed my old Game Boy and copy of Pokemon Red, I was overjoyed to relive my childhood, except it kinda sucks now. Sure, modding my original unit is an option, but I don't want to tear down my old unit for sentimental reasons. I also am not confident in my soldering skills as I just started learning. And I don't feel like paying a crazy amount of money for a pre-modded one or another GBC. And of course, I could opt for some of the higher end FPGA devices, one of which plays more than just physical Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, but those are a bit pricey or don't fully capture that nostalgic aesthetic I'm looking for. But that is where this comes in. This is the Funny Playing FPGBC, a DIY GBC kit comprised of all new parts with modern conveniences like a backlit IPS screen and USB-C rechargeable battery, all within that classic GBC shell. And we're going to be putting this one together. Let's dive right in. While I did purchase this kit on sale from Retro Game Repair Shop, I had to buy this clear shell from Funny Playing directly as Retro Game did not have the specific clear one in stock at the time. On that note, if you plan on buying this from Retro Game, the kit only includes the motherboard, speaker, and battery. You are going to have to purchase the display, the shell, buttons, membranes, and stickers separately. If you do order the kit from Funny Playing directly, it does include the display, but you will also still have to purchase the shell, buttons, and membranes separately. However, the shells will at least include the stickers, so whichever store you order from will entirely be your preference, as pricing, availability, and shipping times will vary. Let's get back into it. First, we're going to work on this front shell by installing all of our buttons and membranes. But these regular buttons just aren't doing it for me. So I just had to get these metallic red buttons because I'm fancy. I will note that these buttons, courtesy of Retro Game Repair Shop, do not include a power switch. So you will still have to purchase a set of buttons that include said power switch should you go this route. But these metal buttons are completely optional. Also, you will have to trim the membrane for the start and select buttons in order to fit them properly with these metallic ones. Let's continue. Make sure to install the rubber gasket onto the speaker as this will keep it from rattling. And you're going to want to install the speaker at an angle in the case before dropping in the main board. A couple things to consider: these holes are not pre-threaded, so getting the screws in is going to take a bit more effort. I highly suggest testing the screen before adhering it to the shell. And we're good. And of course, I'll be adding a screen protector. Now for the finishing touch. Now that looks pretty damn good. Now let's briefly go over a few of the options. Pressing the volume rocker in brings up a menu that allows you to adjust various settings, like the brightness, speed, switching between cores, and screen modes. Speaking of screen modes, full screen mode uses all the screen real estate, but it's not integer scaled like the analog pocket. X4 mimics the original Game Boy Color screen at a 4x integer scale. X4P adds a pixel grid effect. Switching to the Game Boy Core will allow you to boot your system just like the DMG or Pocket. On that note, as many other videos have pointed out, be aware that some original Game Boy games don't work well with the GBC core as seen here with Pokemon Red. This graphical glitch can be resolved by turning on the Game Boy Color Fix option. And of course, any changes you make in the BIOS should be saved before exiting. Overall, I am pretty satisfied with how this turned out. Sure, it doesn't have the same build quality or even functionality as its competitors, but at a price point of around $90, it's hard to complain. While the backlit IPS screen and rechargeable battery are a much welcomed upgrade, an underrated feature on this new kit is the upgraded speaker. Let's be honest, the original Game Boy Color speaker was kinda shit, but this one is much louder and much clearer. Take a listen. You get the idea. My only real nitpicks would probably be the minor software glitches and the lack of pre-threaded screw holes. Speaking of, shout out to Tito from Macho Nacho Productions, who suggested to skip the middle screw in the motherboard. Otherwise, you may risk cracking the front shell. One thing I would highly advise against is over-tightening the screws on the shell, especially before putting the screen in. Otherwise, you're gonna have problems. What the fuck is going on? But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and if you want to hear me ramble on about PC and other tech related content, then mosey on over to this video right here.